Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the biggest crypto news stories of the year. Ethereum ETFs have officially been approved, and this is not just a small step, it's a giant leap for ETH, the broader crypto market, and honestly, for traditional finance as well. Now, in this video, we're going to break down exactly what Ethereum ETFs are, why their approval is such a massive deal, and most importantly, what this means for Ethereum's price as we move into 2025 and 2026. So let's start with the basics. An ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is basically an investment product that lets traditional investors buy exposure to Ethereum without needing to set up wallets, manage private keys, or worry about security. It trades just like a stock on major exchanges, which means hedge funds, pension funds, financial advisors, and retail investors who never touched crypto before can now easily allocate to ETH. That's why ETFs have historically been game changers. We saw it with gold back in 2004, when the first gold ETF launched and triggered a massive multi-year bull run. We saw it again with Bitcoin ETFs, which pushed institutional demand to a whole new level. So now, with Ethereum ETFs, we could be at the start of another monumental shift. Now, here's where it gets even more exciting. Ethereum isn't just a digital currency like Bitcoin. It's the backbone of DeFi, NFTs, Web3, and countless applications. This means an ETF isn't just exposure to a speculative asset, it's exposure to the infrastructure of the future internet. That makes it much easier for big institutions to justify holding ETH in their portfolios. And when big money flows in, supply-demand dynamics kick in. Remember, Ethereum's supply has actually been shrinking since the merge and EIP 1559, where fees are burned. Combine that with staking, where millions of ETH are locked up, and you've got a setup where demand is about to explode while supply gets tighter. So what could this mean for price? Well, let's consider Bitcoin as a benchmark. After the Bitcoin spot ETFs launched, we saw billions in inflows within weeks, and Bitcoin rallied hard. If Ethereum follows a similar path, we could easily see ETH retesting its all-time high of around $4,800, much faster than expected. But looking ahead to 2025 and 2026, when adoption matures and more institutions allocate, think insurance companies, sovereign wealth funds, and retirement accounts. It's not crazy to imagine Ethereum breaking into the $7,000 to $10,000 range if momentum holds strong. Of course, that depends on macro conditions too, things like interest rates, regulations, and whether the broader economy stays healthy. But the ETF approval itself sets the foundation for long-term legitimacy. Now, some people will argue, does this mean Ethereum will flip Bitcoin? And while Bitcoin still has the first-mover advantage as digital gold, Ethereum's unique utility, smart contracts, decentralized applications, and staking gives it a completely different value proposition. In fact, many analysts believe that ETFs could help Ethereum gain ground on Bitcoin's dominance over time. Another interesting point is how this could affect the DeFi and NFT ecosystem. With more institutional money flowing into ETH, it naturally boosts liquidity across decentralized applications, creates more stability in tokenized assets, and might even inspire more real-world businesses to launch on-chain products. And don't forget about staking ETFs, which could eventually come too. Imagine a product where traditional investors earn passive yields from Ethereum staking. Now, that would be a game-changer. So, what's the realistic outlook? For 2025, I think Ethereum pushing back toward its previous all-time high is almost inevitable if demand builds steadily. By 2026, with global adoption, We could be in the middle of another major bull cycle, with ETH potentially reaching 5 figures if conditions align. Of course, volatility will always be part of crypto. Expect pullbacks, expect hype cycles, expect fear and doubt along the way. But the ETF approval creates a solid floor of legitimacy that makes it very unlikely for Ethereum to just fade away. In short, this isn't just another crypto pump narrative. It's institutional validation, it's structural demand, and it could be the catalyst that takes Ethereum into its next era. So if you've been following ETH for years, this is the moment you've been waiting for. And if you're new to crypto, well, welcome. You're about to witness history.